The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
And welcome to the October 25th edition of the Opinionators. I am Larry Deani, and the Opinionators is Cable 14's premier opinion program with a panel of experts representing the main political parties at the provincial and federal levels. And let me introduce you to our panel. We have Ron Corsini representing the Liberal Party. Hello, Ron.
Hey, Larry. Great to be here tonight on a warm, sunny day.
It's a wonderful day. And Tara Crugnale, of course, of the Conservative Party. Hello,
Hi
Tara.
there. Hi there, Larry.
And Alex Johnstone, the NDP. Welcome, Alex.
Hello, Larry.
And folks, we have a full program today, and we're going to get right to it. And the first topic comes to you, Ron, and it has to do, of course, with the Provincial Liberal Party, Ron. And they're going to have to choose a new leader because Dalton McGuinty has indicated that he's gone. Dwight Duncan has said that he's not running for the leadership. And there are a number of people who are making some noises about potentially running. Some say that this is a race to the bottom because they're so low in the polls, but what's your take on it?
Oh, no, I think this is a rebirth of the party. I wouldn't call it a race to the bottom at all. There are some really top-notch candidates out there that are going to put their name forward, and I hope they put their name forward, and you're going to see a whole totally different Liberal government in office at Queen's Park in Toronto. I'll tell you, if Sandra Punatello puts her name in, that changes everything. She is going to shake this province up that you're not going to even recognize it. I think she's going to be the one. And I really hope that she puts her name into the box. And you know what? I would work on her campaign.
Well, I mean, if she's going to...
Well, there you go, Tara. What do you say about that?
If she's going to shake up this province so we won't even recognize it, geez, maybe I might vote for her. If she can get rid of the entire taint of what the Liberals have done in the past 8 years, that would be incredible. Now, Sandra would be the best bet, I think, for the Liberals because she managed to step out before the last election, and so she's not covered in orange, no pun intended, Alex, or the teachers' wage freeze, the gas plants. She's not as connected to this as other cabinet ministers are, and I think that's one of the main reasons why Dwight Duncan isn't running, is because he's been Dalton McGuinty's right-hand man for so long that you can't take the two apart, and anything that Dalton did, Dwight's going to have to answer for as well. So Sandra would definitely be someone that Andrea would have to look out for.
Well, Alex, coming to you, we have so far Ron working for Sandra Punatello and Tara voting for her. What say you?
Well, I have to disagree. I think that the best bet for the Liberals is Deb Matthews. And although she was in this past government, I think that she handled many of the portfolios well. She got she took over a number of different crises. And I thought that she was able to at least get on top of many situations, including the handling of Orange, although it's still ongoing, but it's a big mess. And so I think that the real question here is, did McGuinty leave soon enough? And time will tell. I don't know that Ontarians will be ready to embrace the Liberals so readily as Ron thinks Sandra will be able to convince Ontario. We don't have short memories, and I think that you're going to find that that people will certainly be using their votes to express their opinions on
but Alex,
but on that issue, though, in terms of the leadership, I know that there are all kinds of other issues, but Ron, Alex makes a good point. You know, you indicated that Sandra, and both of you actually indicated that Sandra Punatello might be a good prospect. But Deb Matthews is pretty talented. Glenn Murray has been making some noises about potentially running. Dr. Hoskins, Eric Hoskins, as well. Would you simply dismiss anybody that's around?
No, I wouldn't. I would have to hear each one individually, but I'm leaning toward Sandra. Deb Matthews, you did mention her, and she is a smart woman. But Sandra comes to the table with experience. She comes to the table with a lot of knowledge on how governments run, and she's a fierce debater. She will really give Andrea a run for the money.
She's not just
and she's a smart woman. And you know what? She's a woman, and I think we need more women. Oh,
she definitely was Dalton McGuinty's pit bull the first time around, and I think that's why it would be really interesting to see her up at the forefront. The Liberals have been talking amongst themselves, and there has been the suggestion that going with a woman is the way to go this time around.
I think there should be more women.
So I don't want to be playing the sex card there, but I think that we are going to find more female candidates. Eric Hoskins, Dr. Eric Hoskins, he would be good. Not this. Maybe he might throw his hat in the ring just to try it out, to feel the waters. But I don't think that he has the portfolio. Yeah, it's not his time just yet. But first off, I think we're really going to see Sandra pull through on this one.
I hope so.
Okay, well, we'll wait to see what happens. Nobody, as far as I know, has announced yet that they're into the ring, but we'll follow this story. The second one actually goes to you, Alex, and it's related to this, and it's the prorogation issue, the fact that Mr. McGuinty not only said that he'd resign, but he prorogued the legislature, which means that everything stops. And we've heard, obviously, the opposition parties, yours included, saying that this throws, stops the mechanism of government, and in fact, there's a move afoot to try to press the Liberals to call the legislature back. What's your take on that?
Well, Larry, it's interesting because it's not just opposition that are criticizing here. It's Liberals within people within the Liberal ranks that are criticizing. Kathleen Wynne came out and made comments the other week, as did Mr. Kennedy. Right, so there's a number of Liberals within that are not happy with the prorogation and not happy with Mr. McGuinty stepping down midway through a term. I think that there's a lot of people, certainly the NDP, the Conservatives, and a number of those within the Liberal ranks that wanted to continue to get work done. There was a number of different private members' bills that were lost. They were completely flushed down the drain last week when Mr. McGuinty prorogued Parliament. So I think that this isn't just about criticism coming from the left and the right.
Tara, what's your take on this?
Well, I have to agree with Alex. To bounce back for a second to the last topic, George Smitherman, we forgot about him.
Yes.
That's what we'll talk about next time.
Well, Gerard Kennedy, Brad Douggood as well.
There are tons of them. Going back to the prorogation, it was just the wrong move. I think Dalton McGuinty should have stepped down. He should have stepped down even sooner, but he should have put in an interim leader, someone to be able to take hold of everything at Queen's Park until a new leader was chosen. This way, it just looks like they were trying to shut down the contempt cases against them. They don't want to answer questions. Bills die on the table, not just during this time, but they do die all the time. But there are some specific ones and specific issues that the Liberals have just clearly run away from by shutting the doors of Queen's Park.
Well, Ron, have they run?
I don't think they're running away from anything. You get the whole wrong.
They're not. They're not.
This was not a workable government because
What do you mean?
You were playing games. You were playing games with the government.
Nobody was looking to bring you down. Nobody was looking to bring you down.
And you know what? Another thing is, it's 18 days that they're going to be off. When you count all the number of days they're going to be taking off for Christmas break and the whole thing. So
but
it's
18 days in 3 months.
All the bills are dissolved, and they start straight back. It starts right back.
They can come back.
And you know that they won't. And God knows what's going to happen when you choose a new leader. You're going to choose a new leader, and then he might go right into an election. And then what's he going to do?
Listen, we got an email last time telling me to take control because everybody was talking over each other.
Get in the driver's seat.
All right. Okay. So Terry, you'll get a chance, but let Ron finish his point.
But like I mentioned, it's 18 days, and it was your government prorogued the House for close to a year.
Ron, are you serious?
Government's right across.
Pick up a calendar. That is not what happened, and it was for a completely different
They're
reason.
right across Canada.
We went through this last week.
Go ahead.
And remember, your two parties were trying to get in bed with each other and take over the government 6 weeks after an election, and it was just the wrong time for you. We prorogued for a much shorter time. We weren't leaving bills on the table dying. We weren't running away from contempt.
No. Let me pull a Candy Crowley here.
Yeah.
When you prorogue, everything dies.
Get out of the driver's seat, Larry.
Did you finish your point?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Alex.
I think, though, it's important to highlight that they were both wrong, and neither should have prorogued. This is all about the Liberals trying to save their own butts right now.
No, I don't see it that way
It
at
is
all.
that way,
No.
and that's what the public feels as well. And to try and say that that's not what's happening is just it's a straight out lie.
If the opposition parties worked with the government, they would have stayed in, government would have been open today, and you would have gotten a lot of things done. But when you're playing games with a sitting minority government,
Ron, it is such a
you
slim
can't do
minority
anything.
that you cannot complain about
But we were
this.
trying to work this
You
out.
could have let the air out of the tires of any one of the opposition party members and passed anything you wanted.
We were trying to work things out, and you were not cooperating.
No, I think you can't go with it's all or nothing. You know, when you're in a minority government
Cooperate.
position,
Then you cooperate.
exactly,
with
and
each
that's
other.
what
And
we
it's
were
give and
doing.
take,
That's
you
what we were
not.
doing.
All
yeah.
right, all right. We've exhausted that, and again, it's prorogued. We'll have to see what the electorate eventually says about
Ontario
that.
will let you know what they think.
We will see that.
Wait and see.
One day.
This topic has to do with, let's put some heat on the federal government for this one, Tara. This one is for you. The budget officer, who's an official of the Canadian Parliament, appointed by your government, by the Prime Minister, the budget officer has a responsibility to check the books to make sure that everything is transparent and understandable. Your government is not giving him the information that he needs in order to do his job. And he's taking you guys to court. How do you justify that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird that Mr. Page has changed his own job description. We created the post, so we wrote up what the job entailed.
And his job was?
And his job is to check on money that is being spent, not on money that hasn't been spent. And he is trying to find out how we want to get rid of the deficit, and we haven't given him all those numbers. I think 20 out of the 60 agencies have provided him with information. Another 20 are getting back to him, and another 20 are ignoring him because it's not in his job description. I don't know if he's trying to get, more hours clocked in or what he's up to, but this is silly.
Oh,
Why
dear.
would you create
Okay,
that?
hang on. I think we'll go to Alex for this.
Well, in actual fact, is his job to be a budgetary watchdog. That's what he was hired to do, and that's exactly what he is. The reason why he's asking for all these documents. I find it rather alarming that 20 departments outright ignored a parliamentary budget officer. That is really concerning. For a government that campaigned on transparency, it sure is lacking. And I think part of the reason why we're trying to find out at this hour is, there was supposed to be $5 billion worth of cuts. There is certainly a lot of speculation that you went above and beyond that. So you made a lot of unnecessary cuts, and that's alarming right now.
Funny that his job is to find out what we spent, and now his job has changed into what we didn't spend.
Well,
there's a difference.
Considering all the cuts made, we had E. coli outbreak over in Alberta. People's health and safety is on the line. I think we have a right to know what is being cut, especially if you've already met your targets.
Maybe there's a new
then
job
why
description.
keep going when you're putting people's health and safety at risk?
Why
Wait
put
a
him in
second.
that
Let me ask
position?
this question because I think it begs to be asked. So he's a budget watchdog. Budgets, of course, talk about what's been spent, but budgets are also a forecast of what is to be spent. And in other words,
We've already suggested that money is not going to be spent, so he should be focusing on the money that is being spent.
all right, but then
But he's also
not
he's
true.
also waiting for all these agencies to submit their budgets
Yeah.
and cuts at the same time. They're not submitting those budgets to him. I mean, you created this position for him, this person,
And we
to
created
Mr.
a
Page
monster, I
to
guess.
Yeah, you did create a monster.
But
You did
really,
create a monster because you're not coming out with the
we were
information.
trying to be transparent, and all of a sudden, someone hijacks a position that we create for them.
Someone who believes in democracy.
well,
He's following.
He's
This is
not
somebody
following.
He's following his job description.
No,
This
that's
is
not part of
somebody
his
who
job
is actually doing
description.
their job, and just because there's other people in the Conservative Party that are not, or that don't take seriously transparency, this individual does, and we applaud him
No,
for
but
it.
wait a second, Alex. Again, I think we need to hold every comment to account. There's nothing that says that if he were to investigate and do his job, as you say, that he'd find that there's anything wrong.
No, but the department still need to release those documents.
Absolutely, but
that is his responsibility.
So the suspicion is because they're not releasing that they're hiding something.
Well, I'm not making any statements. I find it, a problem that a budgetary officer has to take the government to court to get the documents that he's entitled to do his own job.
No, it isn't right, and this is not the forum that this should be played out in. This isn't going according to plan at all.
No.
All right.
No.
Well,
no,
it is
not.
a little embarrassing probably for the government that this is happening, but you're right. Until we actually get a report from him, it's half the story. Listen, are you ready for the lightning round? Because we've got some very interesting topics, and then we have a very special end to our program. Today we're going to talk about Lincoln Alexander, his honor, of course. And the lightning round, the first one goes to you, Ron. And, governments and liberals especially are often accused by the conservatives of running nanny states, where they want to hold our hand literally from cradle to grave. And there's some talk and legislation that perhaps they're going to put warning on fatty foods, even orange juice, to indicate to the consumer exactly what they're getting. Ron, is this a little too much?
I think it is a little too much. I mean, we have the information on all containers of food products, such as orange juice, the calories and the sugar content of these products. But to actually come out and try to put labels on them, like a pack of cigarettes, that this item is going to be hazardous to your health, it's something totally different. I understand where they are coming from and trying to fight obesity, but I think that fight should start at home.
All right. Remember, this is the lightning round. Alex?
Well, considering the fact that 30%, so 1 in 3 children and youth are obese, we have a major problem on our hands. We have no problem with showcasing the health effects of tobacco. I think we should do the same for fast food, considering that it costs us almost $3 billion annually to cover these additional health costs.
And Tara?
I'm just imagining the picture of a distended stomach on the wrapping of a Starbucks pumpkin spice scone, because those things pack like 550 calories and probably 30 grams of fat. I think that people try to be conscious of what they're eating, but really you don't know how many calories things have. And I think that this is a very interesting thing that has been brought up. I don't think it's going to pass, but it gets people thinking. Is orange juice actually bad for you? Well, you know what? If you're drinking more than a glass a day of it, it is, when you think of all the sugar and everything. And that's what people don't realize.
Right. Okay. And Alex, this one is for you, and it's also a serious topic, and it has to do with the war vets. Apparently the government is not looking after them the way that they should. They've even asked the Auditor General perhaps to investigate to find out if our government is neglecting people who've gone out and put themselves in harm's way for ourselves, for our country, for our democracy. Is this appropriate?
Over 8,000 vets are going to struggle in order to transfer or, reemerge back into society. And 20% of those 8,000 people actually have they're not getting the services that they need. This is what was found out in the report. So they're not going to be linked into the services that they need. They're not going to be successful in transferring back into society. This is a problem. Shame on Harper for letting down the vets.
Very good. Tara?
I'm going to agree with you, Alex. I think that something more has to be done. And I don't think that this was intentional. I think that the organizations haven't been doing their job properly. Perhaps they're understaffed. Perhaps they're too big. These things have to be looked at, and we have to look after our veterans.
Well, shame on the government. And I agree with both of you tonight. We have people putting themselves in danger in fighting for our freedom. And when they come back, we should give them all the services, whether it's psychological, physical services, the best that we have, and they should get that as soon as they need it.
All right. And Ron, the floor is with you again. And this has to do with the Diamond Jubilee medal that the federal government has made available in honor of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And deserving Canadians have received this medal. But apparently an anti-abortionist, who's in jail, by the way, was also a recipient. What do you make of that?
That's great. I think she deserves that medal, be more, or if the same as anyone else that has received the medal. She is giving up her freedom for unborn babies, and I think that she deserves this medal. I can't say enough for her.
Tara, do you agree?
Well, I guess here we can see that party lines really don't have anything to do with the abortion debate. And I'll only say this: if men were the ones getting pregnant, we would have clinics on every corner. I can guarantee that.
I have to agree completely with Tara. On the few topics that we do agree on, I am 100% with you. And I think that I think that when we're honoring the actions of people, you know, for someone to be working against women's rights, why are we honoring that? That's something that I don't agree with. Not in the year 2012.
All right. Well, panel, good comments, and now it's my turn. And I want to talk about KPMG, which is a major national accounting firm, having decided that they're going to make an investment in downtown Hamilton, and they've just reopened their offices at 21 King, one of the major buildings right in the heart of our downtown. They hire about 172 people in that office. These are well-paid professional jobs right in our core. There was a letter to the editor today, Alex, that you'd be interested in knowing about, because the writer, in complimenting KPMG, asked the question, what do they know that the school board didn't know? Not that I want you to get into that debate, but the point is that that decision, along with the health center, along with the Lister block, along with a number of other things, and Blair Blanchard saying that they're going to do some work along the Gore area, the downtown seems to be revitalizing. Ron, do you agree?
I'm very pleased about this whole revitalization, and it's happening. It's happening on its own. It's not how, government is coming in and saying, do this, do that, but it's happening on its own. The art crawl happened with a few individuals on its own, and it's brought brand new life to the core.
Tara?
I'm not going to say that it happened on its own. It's taken individuals a long time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to revitalize parts of the core. And I think that it's going to be a long process. I think that other things need to be done, things need to be taken out of the core in order for it to work. But I applaud KPMG for staying here.
Well, Larry, you opened up the can of worms, so I will dive right into it. I think what KPMG, what this investor group knew that the school board didn't was that they were a private company and they had access to private funds. When it came to the school board in terms of investing in an ed center, we did not have any funds, and we had to, the only funds that we had access to was selling off our own property in order to rebuild. Our current property had been was in so much need of repairs. It was costing us way too much money in terms of heating and facilities, and we just didn't have money to reno it. In terms of investing in the downtown core, I agree with Tara. It's been a number of different individuals who've been committed to the core over the years. This hasn't been an accident.
Very good. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. And we're going to end our program by reflecting for a couple of minutes on Lincoln Alexander, just to remind our audience, or to tell our audience, that in fact the state funeral is going to be held tomorrow, Friday, at 2:30, and the public is invited to attend. Seats are limited, so if you're interested in going, I'd show up around 12:30 at the convention center. And Mr. Alexander, of course, was the iconic Hamiltonian, voted by the Spectator readers to be the most popular Hamiltonian ever, and he beat out some very substantial people for that post. And he transcended racial groups, he transcended age groups, he transcended political parties as well. We knew that he was a good Tory, but we also knew that he was a great Hamiltonian, and I have many fond memories. Tomorrow's program is going to be hosted by Doug Fairway and Laura Babcock, and a number of people, including the current mayor and past mayors, are going to offer some reflections. And here's an opportunity for you, and maybe we'll start with you, Ron, because I know you knew him well. We'll start with you. What was the impact of Lincoln on you?
Well, I worked on all of Link's campaigns except the first one in '68. I think '72 on, and he ran for the Tories, the Progressive Conservatives at that time. But it wasn't the party; it was him that everyone. He just attracted everyone. It wasn't, I'm going to work for this man because of his party, but he had so much respect for my family, and I remember when his wife Yvonne passed away, my father said, we have to go and make a visit, and we did, because he did that for my grandfather. He attended my parents' anniversary party. He's been at our home for dinners, and so we have that connection, and Hamilton and myself will miss him a great deal.
Alex.
Well, I think that he was certainly a wonderful man. Over this week, I've heard so many people comment on their memories. Certainly some of the trustees had of memories in terms of meeting Link for the first time. And I think that he certainly was an enormous role model. He was the first man of color to be elected in Canada. And it's so important to see yourself reflected for those individuals who come from visible minorities, to see yourself reflected in our leadership.
Great. And quickly?
I am so proud that he called himself a Hamiltonian. I am so proud that he called himself a conservative. And if more than anything, though, that man was a gentleman. Absolutely. Yeah. And we will really miss him. Well,
we're going to have to leave it at that. Thank you for your thoughts. Funerals tomorrow. And thank you for watching. We're going to run, but come back next week for the Opinionators.
Tara Crunali's Hair by Ludi Mamoda Hair and Aesthetic Studio, 169 James Street North in downtown Hamilton.